Happening now, the latest on a late-night fire in northern Chautauqua County, why arson is suspected in this case. And $500,000 is coming to help drug recovery efforts in Jamestown. Plus, a popular fall-time festival returns this weekend. We have a look at the preparations underway in Busti.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
New York's Attorney General is suing former President Donald Trump and his company, alleging business fraud involving some of their most prized assets, including properties in Manhattan, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. Attorney General Letitia James filed the lawsuit this morning in New York court. It's the culmination of the Democrats' 3-year civil investigation of Trump and his organization. Now, Trump's 3 eldest children were also named as defendants, and 2 longtime company executives. The suit seeks to strike at the core of what made Trump famous, taking a backlight to the image and wealth and luxury he embraced throughout his career. First as a real estate developer, and then as a reality TV host on the show Apprentice and Celebrity Apprentice, and later as president. James announced details of this lawsuit during a morning news conference. We'll of course continue to follow this breaking news story and provide updates when available on air and online at WNYNewsNow.com. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now today. I'm Justin Gould. Fire investigators say a late-night blaze near Fredonia was intentionally set. Around 8:40 last night, crews were called to 9558 Stone Road for a reported structure fire. Several companies responded, including from the village of Fredonia, Dunkirk, East Dunkirk, Cassadaga, Sheridan, and the county EMS team. The Sheriff's Office Fire Investigation Unit saying that upon arrival, first responders found 2 vehicles in a residence ablaze. At this time, investigators ruled the fire to be incendiary, meaning someone intentionally set it. An investigation into who might be responsible continues. The 22-year-old accused of gunning down a man in broad daylight last month on Jamestown's north side has been charged with murder in the case. The Chautauqua County District Attorney Jason Schmidt announcing that Kevin Roland Pajanos was formally charged with murder yesterday in connection with the killing of 35-year-old Jose Betez Perez. Now, Betez Perez, along with another man, were shot during a drive-by shooting in the area of 850 Prendergast Avenue back on Friday, August 20th. Betez Perez, police said, died at the scene. A black 4-door Toyota sedan was identified as a suspect vehicle. Investigators with Jamestown Police arrested Ronald Pajanos along with another suspect following the incident. However, until now, charges connected to the alleged killing have not been formally filed. Pajanos was arraigned on a 5-count indictment in county court with bail set at $1 million or $2 million property bond. He faces felony charges including second-degree murder and second-degree attempted murder. A Buffalo area man has been indicted in connection with the kidnapping and rape of a Chautauqua County woman. The Erie County District Attorney's Office announcing that 62-year-old Scott Scardina of Hamburg was arraigned on felony rape and kidnapping along with unlawful imprisonment charges. It's alleged that he abducted the victim, taking her to his apartment in Hamburg. He's accused of forcibly raping her inside of a bedroom while preventing her from leaving. The defendant allegedly threatened the victim throughout the incident. If convicted of the highest charge here, he faces a maximum sentence of 25 years in prison. Well, the Chautauqua County Mental Health Association, along with an entourage of supporters and elected officials, announced yesterday they received a federal grant awarding them a total of $500,000 towards a new drug recovery program. Our Bronson Rasmussen joins us live in the newsroom today with more on what this program entails. Bronson?
Program known as the ARC Project aims to assist those in recovery and return them to the workforce, allowing the Mental Health Association to expand their already existing occupational peer empowerment network, using peer-related support to allow patrons to get back to a sense of normalcy. The Mental Health Association has been working on this program for over 2 years to establish relationships with the community and local businesses.
It's a 2-year grant that comes with $500,000 in funding, and the purpose of that is to develop a recovery ecosystem that supports people in recovery as they return to the workforce, to remove barriers, to provide opportunities for education, and to provide assistance where wraparound services don't traditionally supply assistance.
Now that they have received the grant, ARC project manager Sean Jones can begin to work with businesses and help patrons develop the skills necessary to return to a sense of normalcy.
Now with getting the full grant and being able to implement it, we can start to add the other pieces of that program. So being able to do the workforce development classes with our participants. One of the other things we can do now too is also start reaching out more to the different businesses throughout Chautauqua County, both large and small.
While the federal grant awarded only $500,000, with other financial help, the Mental Health Association will have $1 million to begin work.
We have matched $250,000 of the funding that we already have on hand, and then St. Luke's is their part is matching $250,000. So in one sense, it's a total value of $1 million. So
once the ARC program is underway, services will be available countywide.
We will be doing this grant and implementing it all over Chautauqua County, in Jamestown, in Dunkirk, and all the rural areas in our county. So we're real excited about it.
The ARCS Inspire, also known as the Appalachian Regional Commission's Investment Supporting Partnerships in Recovery Ecosystems Initiative, attempts to address substance recovery issues across the Appalachian region. This year, Chautauqua County's Mental Health Association was the only organization in New York State that was awarded this grant. Live in the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, thank you very much. Now let's switch gears and get a first check of our weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter standing by live with that. And all things calm now from that shot there in Mayville, but I hear we got some severe storms on the way.
Yes, we do. It is quiet for this early afternoon, but we are going to be watching the radar as we go throughout the afternoon hours. Lakeside Park here, you can see just that murky sky overhead, and these are mainly just a few clouds that have kind of moved on in. So we have to watch this kind of layer of cloud cover if we can get some more of that sunshine to peek through. So here's the main story. So the Storm Prediction Center maintains the slight risk, a level 2 out of 5 across the entire region. So that's been no change over the past couple of days. But here's the change here, and I threw this out on social media this morning, and I don't like showing these because it's very confusing and it causes hype and panic, but there is a 5% tornado risk across the western, southern tier and northwestern PA. Understand, that is a low risk, but it is not zero. There is a chance for at least an isolated tornado with these storms this afternoon, so make sure you have ways of getting warnings through the afternoon. So we are going to see some sun with scattered storms developing. Main time frame about 3 to 7 o'clock. Same thing as we told you yesterday. Timing's about the same, 78 to 84, so it's warm and a bit humid today, but we start fall tomorrow and it's going to be feeling like it. We'll talk about it with the Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-Day later in the show, Justin.
All right, Dakota, as we continue, the latest legal action now expected in the attack at the Chautauqua institution, what prosecutors want in a protection order for witnesses. And later, the deadline to register to vote here in New York approaches, how social media impacting election participation. Stay with us. WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key.
Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Looking for a fair and honest auto mechanic? Look no further than DeWyas Auto Service. Located at 140 Main Street in Randolph, our family-owned business is ready for all of your automotive needs. From general service to more complex repairs, count on DeWyas Auto to keep you on the road. We not only keep your cars running smoothly, but also looking great with our expert detailing crew. Send us a message on Facebook or call us today at 716-358-2292 to set up an appointment. DeWyas Auto Service. Fair, honest, and the best prices guaranteed.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A Chautauqua County Court judge will decide today whether to grant a protection order for witnesses to the attack on world-famous author Salman Rushdie at the Chautauqua institution. Last week, DA Jason Schmidt petitioned County Judge David Foley for the order in connection with the August attack. However, the proceeding was postponed so that suspect Hadi Matar's legal team could take part. They are required to agree to a temporary non-disclosure agreement to keep the witnesses' identities from their client. There is already a gag order in place to protect case specifics from the public. Now, during an afternoon hearing, Judge Foley is expected to decide whether to grant the order of protection and outline its parameters. Last Friday, Judge Foley was expected to issue a ruling as to whether he would extend time for the DA to go over evidence in the case. That's been since moved to today as well. The DA's office saying they've received over 30,000 files alone from state police in the form of PDF, Excel sheets, and video evidence from the attack. Construction plans for a new homeless shelter in Jamestown have been approved by local officials. The City of Jamestown's Planning Commission okayed the renovation of 303 Lafayette Street yesterday. Chautauqua Opportunities first presented this project during a City Council meeting earlier in the year. Funded via a $2.49 million grant from the State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. Once complete, this shelter would be able to hold 18 women at any given time, with the goal of getting them back on their feet. This is the second ongoing homeless shelter project specifically for women here in Chautauqua County. Yucatan City Mission also building a shelter on Main Street. Since the pandemic, officials say the number of local homeless have skyrocketed. The deadline to register to vote here in New York State is October 14th, and traditional efforts to get people to the polls are on. However, those efforts don't draw nearly the numbers as efforts online. Erie News Now's Kristen Allen has more.
The deadline to register to vote is in just over a month, and traditional efforts to get people in Erie to the polls are on.
We're here today at the Glenwood YMCA to reach out to voters and get them registered to vote.
But events like these don't draw near the numbers as efforts online.
Happy National Voter Registration Day!
Tuesday is National Voter Registration Day, and nearly every social media platform is inundated with messages and links urging you to register to vote, those efforts steering away from more traditional pushes.
Well, convenience is really important, especially with it's getting more and more difficult to get volunteers to man those type of tables.
Brian Sheridan, communications professor at Mercyhurst University, says the social media platforms themselves are not taking a political stance with either party in encouraging people to register to vote.
Platforms, they may give lip service to the importance of voting, but really what they want is engagement. They want people online as long as they can.
Regardless, those social media efforts are working.
I mean, that's where young people spend their days, on their phone, and anything you can do to make that easier for them, because they have to get involved in the process, right? And the easier you make it for them, the more likely it is that they will register.
Still, traditional methods like this one won't go away. Election officials and volunteers are doing everything they can to get people to the polls.
It's the most direct way we can have a voice in our government.
Kristen Allen, Erie News Now.
Tuesday, Republican candidate for New York's 23rd District, Nick Langworthy, made a campaign stop in Corning. Langworthy was in the Centerway Square talking about inflation and the high price of home heating. He says the national grid is anticipating a 39% increase in the cost to heat a home. He also says we need more to explore opportunities for American energy and will be less dependent on foreign oil.
Our home heating is something that if we, had natural gas here in the southern tier, we'd be able to lower the prices for our fellow residents. We'd be able to create great paying jobs, here in the southern tier for, so many people that have had to go and look for opportunities elsewhere.
Langworthy also said that the U.S. needs to continue to expand battery technologies in order to harness renewable energy better. Coming up next, a look at the push underway in Washington, calling for more funding to help the island of Puerto Rico following a devastating hurricane this week. And later, the Busti Apple Festival, it's back this weekend. We have a look at what's on tap. But first, Dakota returns with a full look at our weather forecast and the potential for some severe storms today.
When severe weather breaks, one team has you covered, tracking the storms as they happen. Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Slow down. Slow down and move over. Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights. Vests.
Please, give us some room.
Slow down. Slow down and move over. When you need help,
It's our job
to help you.
to save you.
Despite the danger.
This danger.
This danger is real. Do your part.
Please.
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense weather.
Welcome back, everybody. Wanted to start off with this great picture from our friend Don, and he even gave us some nice captions here. This bird here is saying, "I'm telling you, the fish was this big." And this one saying, "Yeah, the moon is made of cheddar cheese too." So, all right, so thanks to our friend Don for that. And of course, if you have any pictures or videos of the weather, Hunters WX on Twitter, the First Defense weather page on Facebook, and use that hashtag MyLocalWX. We started the day at 55 this morning, only topped out at 69. That northwest wind actually did keep us from reaching 70 here in the city. 91 and 32 are the record. So again, wanted to mention this again because fall officially starts tomorrow at 9:03 p.m. So the fall equinox, so the same thing we talked about yesterday. Equinox means equal day and night in Latin. We're not going to have exactly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime tomorrow, but it's very close, and it has to do with the Earth's tilt and how the solar rays are pointing at the Earth. So the solar rays are directly at the equator tomorrow during the equinox. 72 as of noon hour right now. It's a bit breezy with that southwest wind of 13. That southwest wind is bringing in more juicy air. Notice the dew point up to 61. So the bigger story today really is going to be thunderstorms through the afternoon hours. So as we mentioned, the Storm Prediction Center maintains that slight risk across the entire region. That's a 2 out of 5. This is our standard risk. And the main timing on this, as we told you, really hasn't changed. It's 3 to 7 o'clock this afternoon based on some of the guidance here. Strong winds is really the main factor. Could have a touch of large hail and definitely some localized flooding. The storm motion today is going to be pretty fast, so any flooding is going to be localized. But there's that low end tornado risk again. So again, just understand there is a chance for an isolated tornado, but it's not zero or it's not really high either. But something to keep keep an eye on, so make sure you have multiple ways of getting warnings. Obviously, the NOAA Weather Radio, a good smartphone app, social media on our social media channels. Don't rely too much on social media, mainly because of the algorithms, and never, ever get a warning from an outdoor warning siren. So the satellite and radar composite, we're dry right now across the Northeast. This is the storm complex that's coming on through. Notice a severe thunderstorm watch across portions of Michigan. That's going to be dropping in here through the afternoon. So here it is on Future Scan, clouds thicken up. Then the line of showers and thunderstorms rolls in. This model has it coming in around 5 o'clock. Maybe push it back by an hour or so. But notice how there's almost a curvature to it. That starts to indicate we could be dealing with mainly strong gusty winds. So that's really going to be the main factor from these storms, is going to be damaging wind gusts. They move out of the region towards the eastern southern tier. We're still going to be left with a few rain showers and a few storms through the overnight hours. Tomorrow we'll keep up a chance for rain showers in the forecast, but not all day rain. It's going to be kind of scattered on again, off again. By the time we go into Friday, we are going to start to dry out as we go into Friday, and especially as we go into the first half of the weekend. So storm potential, again, this shows you the better chance of thunderstorm development, and obviously where you saw those oranges and reds, that's the better chance for thunderstorm development. So as we talked about, make sure you have multiple ways of getting warnings through the afternoon. We'll be here all afternoon. Look at that, 56 on Friday. Whoo boy, 63 on Saturday, and we're going to stay chilly, Justin, into next week.
All right, Dakota, thank you. And of course, as you mentioned, stay with us throughout the day. We'll keep you updated on the weather. Well, around the nation now, the Federal Reserve expected to make history with a rate hike today. It's expected to either raise its key short-term rate by 3/4 of a point for the third time in a row now to 3%, or hike it by an unprecedented 1 full percentage point to 3.25%. The central bank kicked off its two-day meeting yesterday and is scheduled to announce a decision this afternoon. As for what's next after this, Wall Street is divided on whether the Fed will keep hiking rates aggressively in November, or if inflation pressures will cool off enough to allow the Fed to slow down the pace for a bit. Well, Hurricane Fiona has hurt the island of Puerto Rico, knocking out power and flooding homes throughout, displacing many people. New York Senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand now pushing for more assistance for the island. Schumer says around this time 5 years ago, Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico. He adds that disaster exposed the weaknesses of the power grid and other infrastructure there. Since then, Congress has approved $21 billion to help rebuild housing, water, the power grid. But Schumer and other members are frustrated only that a fraction of that money had been spent. And now with Hurricane Fiona, the island is once again hurt by the lack of stable infrastructure.
According to GAO, of that $21 billion, only 2% of the money has been spent. 2%, when the island was already devastated by Maria, and lay it open to even more devastation by Fiona since things weren't fixed. Is that outrageous? While in large part that was due to the Trump administration's callousness, inaction, and intransigence, it's also because of the ongoing conflict on the island for what resources should power Puerto Rico, because $12 billion of that was for getting a new power grid.
The federal government has to help the people of Puerto Rico survive, recover, and rebuild stronger, and rebuild better, and rebuild in a more resilient way.
So far, hundreds have been rescued who were stranded. Puerto Rico's governor considered it could take days to get the lights back on. Gillibrand and Schumer calling on FEMA to do more. Well, courts might end up deciding the latest dispute over migrants in the U.S. Some Republican governors have been sending some to liberal jurisdictions, that prompting now a lawsuit and criminal investigation. Amy Kiley has reaction.
I am very glad that the sheriff chose to open an investigation.
Legal action is brewing over efforts to ship migrants north. Governors in these states have been sending them to areas they call sanctuaries. The president's home state of Delaware got word Florida Governor Ron DeSantis may send migrants there.
Do you have any comment or response to that, sir?
He should come visit. We have a beautiful shoreline.
A sheriff in San Antonio, Texas, is investigating 2 flights that originated there. DeSantis took credit for flying nearly 50 migrants to Martha's Vineyard in coastal Massachusetts.
It's up to the authorities on the ground there to figure out what did and didn't happen.
Most of those migrants are part of a class action lawsuit against Florida officials. It alleges organizers used fraudulent tactics to get the migrants on the planes. In a response last night, DeSantis argued participation was voluntary. Some Republicans say ending the Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policy has led to overcrowding.
The facilities along that border in South Texas or even in Arizona and California, they are overwhelmed.
But some Democrats say the governors are using desperate people as political pawns.
This is just disgusting. I think if there are state laws or federal laws that have been broken, that needs to be investigated.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Amy, thank you. Next, a popular fall festival returning to southern Chautauqua County this weekend. Our Alyssa Wright joins us live next to preview what's to come.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you got to keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
Well, welcome back to WNY News Now. A beloved annual festival will be coming to Chautauqua County for its 47th year, the Busti Apple Festival. It made its debut back in 1975, and it's evolved ever since. Our Alyssa Wright joining us now in studio at the desk today to tell us more about this event.
Yeah, so it's put on by the Busti Historical Society every year. The Apple Festival seeks to highlight the importance of preserving history along with showcasing local vendors and demonstrators.
We started out back in the early 70s with a 2-day craft festival, Pioneer Craft Festival on the Fireman's Grounds. And since we started acquiring property, we're up to 20 acres here on our campus. And so we have the festival all right here on our own grounds.
A popular item for sale and arguably a large reason for attending the festival is the apple cider available for purchase.
We will have cider that has been pressed by the cider mill in Busti. We will have over 20 craftspeople in the demonstration building. We will have a variety of craft vendors all around the buildings here.
It may not look like much now, but come this Sunday, upwards of 8,000 people will be standing right where I am, enjoying the Busti Apple Festival. The demonstrators setting up in the barn will show a variety of trades, including leatherworking, beekeeping, and quilt making.
The demonstrators that will be in our barn, they're showing how it was done in the 1800s, and some of the things that they're doing, they let anybody try it.
Organizers strive to incorporate the 1800s into this event.
We'll have someone playing a fiddle, we'll have pony rides, we'll have horse and carriage rides. That brings us all back to the early 1800s. If we didn't preserve the history, how would you know what happened in the past so that you can relate to it in the present? Everybody think good thoughts and think bright sunny days, and the festival will be a very nice place to be for any part of the family, young and old.
p.m. The admission fee is $5 per person. Children 12 and under are in for free.
Yeah, from 11 to 5 there, and such a great story, I think, to share. And really, for me, I can't believe it's already time for the Fall Apple
I
Festival.
know.
Like you think of that, and that really is the kickoff to fall here in Chautauqua County.
Definitely, and I mean, as Dakota said, we're right up on the Fall Equinox.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
This year went by so fast.
I know. So certainly a lot of fun, and one of the things you were talking about, you're going to go just to get your hands on the cider.
Yep.
It's really good.
If you don't get the cider from the Busti Apple Festival, you are missing out. The cider from the store just isn't the same.
No. And you know what? Especially they put the time into it,
Yes.
and it tastes better when you get it there.
I got a little bit of a preview on how they make it. So they told me that big corporations will make theirs with chemicals to kind of clear it. The Busti Apple Festival, they use UV light to clean theirs, so it preserves the taste, and so that's why it tastes so good.
Yeah, really. What a great way to keep a historical tradition alive, too. Alyssa, thank you very much. That is it for us today. We'll leave you with this live look over the HD News Now cam in downtown Jamestown. Have a great day.